Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dear all. Welcome back to English session. And in our previous session, we were discussing about Unit 7, If I Was a Tree by Mudnapuru Chinnaswamy. And we discussed about the background or the framework through which we are gonna study this poem, If I Was a Tree. And in this session, we will be talking about Dalit literature, which is again a part of subaltern studies. And we will be talking about our author and directly we will tackle the poem. So make sure in this poem the concept of Dalit and their pain, sufferings, agony has been thoroughly talked about, but not directly. Everything had been projected indirectly. Everything, their pain, their agony, their sorrows have been projected indirectly. So let's talk about Dalit literature in this session. Okay, so in our previous session we already talked about the concept of subaltern studies, which is a framework or a background to understand Dalit literature. So subaltern studies talks about people who are suffering, are people who have no power in this society and who have been oppressed by opposite group of people who are oppressed. Like blacks were oppressed by white people, women is oppressed by men, Dalits have been oppressed by upper caste people, isn't it? So in subaltern studies is a voice, it's a platform in which these subaltern have given opportunity to talk about themselves, isn't it? So subaltern studies, it's a platform, it's a genre in which all the pain, agony, sufferings and the discrimination has been projected directly to viewers to annihilate these illogical concepts existing in our society because of human barriers and bandages and prejudice, isn't it? So as I said in previous session, we human beings from the beginning of human civilization, we all wanted power, isn't it? We all wanted to become powerful. So in order to make ourselves powerful, we create someone else who is inferior or powerless. So ನಾನು ಪವರ್ಫುಲ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪವರ್ಲೆಸ್ ಇರಬೇಕು, ರೈಟ್? That's why human being tend to create powerless in order to make themselves superior powerful, isn't it? So likewise European aristocratic people made themselves superior by creating others, creating inferiors, blacks, isn't it? And all the Orient people, they considered themselves as uneducated, illiterate, uncivilized, blah blah blah, and made themselves superior. So I have everything what I am telling that you don't have, so I am superior to you. In order to make themselves powerful, in order to make themselves superior, they created others. Like in Western society, whites created blacks, isn't it? Black or idru, but they created the concept of black, white and black. And make sure we all have this in our mind. So fair iroru ellaru beautiful, dark iroru ellaru ugly. We all believe this, right? But is it true? Is it logical? No, it is not. Isn't it? It is not. It's actually a Western concept, or we may also call it as it is an colonized era. And to decolonize our mind, we need to study this literature called subaltern literature, and again in Indian society we need to study Dalit literature, isn't it? So to come out of a closed cocoon or not to generalize things, we have to study this literature so that we can understand the pain, the agony the Dalits and other subaltern people go through, isn't it? To understand a woman, you have to study women's study, isn't it? You shouldn't study men there. You have to study women through her viewpoint, you have to study men, isn't it? To understand the hypocrisy going around her. To understand black, you have to study black literature, or African literature, or African American literature. To understand the pain, the agony they have gone through, you have to study slavery to understand how brutally blacks have been treated, isn't it? How brutally or how harsh blacks have been treated. and to understand Indian chronology or Indian hierarchical system, you have to study Dalit literature to understand the hypocrisy, to understand the power and the equation of power and powerless, the equation of upper caste and lower caste. So let's get started. So in this class, we are going to study Dalit literature. Make sure this is a part of subaltern studies. This is a part of subaltern studies. And in particular, as we are going to study a Dalit writing, our poem which projects the pain, agony and sufferings of Dalit, we will be considering this as subaltern studies and further have been classified into Dalit studies. I hope you got this one. If you are not reaching my words frequently, you have to stop and you have to listen it carefully, because this poem is most important one. They may ask you 6 marks question out of this poem. So this poem is important and you have to answer a 6 marks question out of this poem. Okay, let's get started. So the concept of Dalit literature was actually, look at the Dalit literature has been written by Dalits themselves. Because ನಾನು ನನ್ನ pain, ನನ್ನ agony, ನನ್ನ ಕಷ್ಟ ಸುಖಗಳು ನಾನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಬರೆಯೋಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. You cannot write. Like, you cannot speak about it. So, who has written Dalit literature? Dalit themselves wrote about their sufferings, their pain, their agony, their discrimination, how ill they have been treated. Not even, they have been treated even like animal, right? So, in caste system, a dog has been treated more better than a Dalit. Not today. So it's long back or long ago, these evil practices were there in India, and even today they exist, but not visible. But they are working invisibly, isn't it? Or else we cannot get to know it clearly. But still in northern states, we still got to know, we still hear this and that case where Dalits have been beaten brutally, Dalits have been murdered, Dalits have been burnt alive, isn't it? Women in Dalit have been raped and burnt alive, isn't it? So we have seen this a lot. So it's a high time to think about all these illogical thoughts. It's a high time to think and to bifurcate what is right, what is wrong. It's a high time to think all these evil things as evil and to go with the good things, to go with the equality and remove all these unjust things from our society. So we human beings can do it, right? Because we are all youth people, isn't it? If we remove all these baggages from our mind, definitely it won't reach to next generation. Now we are mediators. If we think the same things, if we have the same baggages, if we have the same prejudice, definitely we are gonna pass these prejudices to next generation. But if we eliminate these things here itself, definitely our next generation would be happy and they would treat each other equally. So let's get started with the process of change. Okay. So Dalit literature written by Dalits about their life, isn't it? So Dalit literature is a literature which consisting of poem, stories, a play or drama or novels or anything. Even a folklore, isn't it? Janapada Hadugulu, about their lives here, their sorrowful life, their painful life, their melancholic lives, isn't it? So, Dalit literature written by Dalits about their lives, which includes their pain, isn't it? It includes their pain. And this Dalit literature actually emerged in the year of 1960s. So, in Marathi language, so the first Dalit literature, the first Dalit piece of art has been written in Marathi, in Maharashtra. So you Dalitru ಯಾವಾಗಿಂದ ಬರೆಯಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವಾಗಿಂದ ಅವರ ಪೇನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂದರೆ ಫ್ರಮ್ 1960s. So from 1960s onwards. So first of all, initially Dalit literature was written in Marathi language. So ಮರಾಠಿಗರು ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅವರ ಪೇನ್ನ ಅವರ ಸಫರಿಂಗ್ಸ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಲೇಟರ್ like Bengali, Hindi, Kannada and other Telugu and all the state representative of Dalit people started projecting their pain in their own languages. Because India has almost 3,200 living languages. How many languages? It's shocking, right? Because it has 3,200 living languages. isn't it? India has 3,200 living languages. So among them, only 18 language has been constitutionally recognized languages. So only 18 languages are there which has been constitutionally recognized. And for many languages, they don't have a writing system. Lipi illa ondashtu languages ಇದೆ. There are only spoken languages, isn't it? Like Tulu. Okay, so ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೆ ಲಿಪಿ ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್. ಸೊ ನೇಟಿವ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಫ್ಲೂಯೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅದರ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಲಿ. So it has been considered that Sanskrit is the mother of all the Indian languages. Okay, so we have all these languages. I mean 3,200 languages in India. So almost ಎಲ್ಲ languages-allೂ Dalit literature ಇದೆ, because it belongs to different region and locality. So especially in Kannada also we have Dalit literature which is known as Dalita Bandaya, isn't it? Which is known as Dalita Bandaya. And in different languages and different state, they may call it in different epochs or different names. Okay, so Dalit literature was emerged in 1960s, and Dalits themselves started talking about their pain, their suffering, their agony and their lifestyle, how they used to live their life, how they have been oppressed by upper caste people, how they have been discriminated by upper caste people. So Dalits ಮತ್ತು ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ಗೆ ತುಂಬ similarities ಇದೆ, isn't it? But blacks were more oppressed, isn't it? But Dalits were somewhat okay. But still, our life-ಗೆ ತುಂಬ connections ಇದೆ, ತುಂಬ similarities ಇದೆ. Even they have been treated brutally, even Dalits have been treated brutally, even blacks, they untouchability ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, but they have been treated like, not even like animal. Here Dalits have not, they are having less grades or less status even than animals, and they shouldn't touch to other upper caste people. So this is Dalit caste system, evil practice of untouchability. So Dalit literature emerged in 1960s in Marathi language, later in other languages as well. So some important Dalit writers include many people. I mean, Kannadallu ಬೇಕಾದಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ Dalit writers who used to talk about their sufferings, their pain, their own flow of emotions. Especially Dalit writers ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಅಂದರೆ ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಾಮಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಹುರಾಮ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, and there are many people who used to talk about their sufferings, their pain. So ಈ two names very familiar ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ I have been written here. Okay, so let's get started with reading the concept, with understanding how Dalits have been treated in past. So untouchability or the concept of caste system day by day is arising, isn't it? Day by day ಅದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಸೊ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. But still, even today, even we have this 21st century, we have this illusion or we have all these evil practices in our society, isn't it? So recently on the incident ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ of UP, right, where a girl who is a Dalit has been raped and burnt alive, isn't it? So even her parents haven't been given access to the funeral of the lady, the girl, isn't it? So this is how, only because she is a Dalit, isn't it? So these all evil practices are there in our society till today. Even education, it's a hard time, it's a high time to teach them. They should get education, they should get some logicality in their life, but unfortunately our society failed in bringing the enlightened minds in our society. Okay, anyways, so ಮುಂಚಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ದಲಿತರ ಜೀವನ ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಇದು ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂತು, ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲೋಯರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ನ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಎರಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಬಿಲೀವ್ಡ್ ದಟ್ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ 4 categories or 4 hierarchical systems. It's better if I write those things here. So we all know Lord Brahma, right? Shiva or Brahma. So according to Hindu culture, there are 4 castes. Like first one, I would say Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Vaishyas, not Vaishyas. We can also write it from Y, it seems. We can just write this one, Vaishyas, and we can also write from B, Vaishyas. Okay. So these are 4 categories our group of people have been divided in, isn't it? So Brahmanas. So Brahmanas, it is believed that Lord Shiva made them from his forehead, isn't it? So Brahmanru hege huttidru andre from Lord Shiva's mastaka ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, forehead, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನನ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ಹೌ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯಾಸ್? ಸೊ ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯಾಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯಾಸ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್, ದೇ ಆರ್ ಮಸ್ಕ್ಯುಲಿನ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಬಿಲೀವ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ came from Shiva's shoulders. So the people who took birth from Shiva's shoulders have been considered to be Kshatriyas. And Thai ಅಂತ ಚಕ್ಲಬುಕ್ಲು ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮಳಿಲು ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಿಂದ ಥಾಯಿಯಿಂದ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪೀಪಲ್ನ ವೈಶ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್, isn't it? And these Shudras actually took birth from the foot of Shiva. That's why they have been recorded to secure lowest position in society. So there are 4 hierarchical system and hierarchy or chronology. So Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Shudras are none other than untouchables. Untouchables. So they have been considered as untouchables. Okay, let's get started. So as I said, Brahmanas took birth from Lord Shiva's face or forehead. That's why they used to do all the intellectual things, like all the spiritual things, yagna, yaga, homa, all the spiritual things. And reading Sanskrit is their birthright. It's because they born from the forehead of Lord Shiva. So all the sophisticated work, all the intellectual work should be done by Brahmanas. So this was the logicality they had. Okay, again Kshatriyas, they born from Lord Shiva's shoulder, and the shoulders in the huttiroru. That's why they are masculine, they have to fight, they used to be in army or in ಸೈನ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ, ಸೈನಿಕರು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ. So especially ರಾಜರ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೈನಿಕರಾಗಿ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ Kshatriyas. Their work is to fight for nation, for kingdom. Now Vaishyas, they born from thigh of Lord Shiva. ಅಂತ ಚಕ್ರ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಥೈ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಕಾಲು, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನನ ವೈಶ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಅಂಗಡಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಜವಳಿಗಳಿರ್ತವೆ, ಅಂಗಡಿಗಳಿರ್ತವೆ, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಅಂಗಡಿ, ರೇಷನ್ ಅಂಗಡಿ, ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಂಗಡಿ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್, ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್. And Shudras, who actually born from the foot of Lord Shiva, have to do all the minute things like cleaning, washing, mending, all the things which has been messed up by all these 3 categories has to be cleaned by Shudras. So this was their logicality, and to make themselves superior, these Brahmanas made this story, so-called belief, isn't it? So Brahmanas, to make themselves superior, to make themselves powerful, they created this story that Brahmanas born from Shiva's mastaka or forehead, Kshatriyas born from Shiva's shoulder, Vaishyas born from Shiva's thigh, and Shudras, who secure the lowest position in society, Indian society, have born from Shiva's foot or ಪಾದಗಳು, isn't it? So ಪಾದಗಳಿಂದ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜನ Shudras. They have been also known as untouchables or Harijanas. Okay, Harijanas or untouchables are Shudras. Okay. So their occupation, and mainly the caste system is also depending upon the work they do, isn't it? The work they do, like all the spiritual work they do, spiritual work, all studying Sanskrita is their job. It is a clean job. It is most sophisticated job, spiritual job. That's why they took it for themselves and made themselves superior. Hierarchically, they are superior because they do all clean job, like doing spiritual job, holy work, isn't it? By doing yagna, yaga, homa, and all the spiritual things, holy work, isn't it? So they are superior. And Kshatriyas, they are also superior because they used to fight for the nation, for the society, and for the and for the safety of nation, and they born from shoulders of Shiva, right? So they are also superior. What their work is to fight for the nation, to fight for the kingdom. Next, Vaishyas, they do all the business, isn't it? Like having shops of, especially Brahmandralli, goldsmith ಕೂಡ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡರಲ್ಲೇ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ usually. So they have like shops of ration shop or cloth shop or whatever the shop is. So they are business people. So these three category people do all sophisticated work, isn't it? That's why they have the highest grade in Indian society. And how about Shudras? They do all the cleaning job. Do ಈ ತ್ರೀ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಕೆಡಿಸಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಏನು ಕೆಟ್ಟದಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಏನು ಗಲೀಜು ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಲಸ ಯಾರ್ದು ಅಂದರೆ ಶೂದ್ರಸ್. What they do, they clean, they mend, they guide, they do everything which has been messed by these three category of people. And they also do farming. Again, ಕೈ ಕೆಸರಾದರೆ ಬಾಯಿ ಮೊಸರು, ಕೈ ಕೆಸರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋರು ಯಾರು? ಶೂದ್ರಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಬಾಯಿ ಮೊಸರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋರು ಯಾರು? ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣ, ವೈಶ್ಯ, Kshatriyas, isn't it? Do you think any logicality in this aspect? Obviously no. To make themselves superior, these Brahmanas created this illogicality of criteria and they made Shudras untouchable. So ಮುಂಚಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗಿರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ Shudra shouldn't enter village, main village. So ಅವರ ಮನೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅವರು ಅಂದರೆ ವಡ್ರಹಟ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಊರಿನ ಆಚೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಡಿನೇಡ್ ಟು ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಹೌಸಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಮೇನ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ವಿಲೇಜ್, ದಿ ಮೇನ್ ವಿಲೇಜ್. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ದೇರ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅವೇ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವಿಲೇಜ್, ವೇರ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿ ಡರ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಡ್ರೈನೇಜ್ ಗೋಸ್. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಊರಿನ ಗಲೀಜೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಾದರೂ ಕಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಗಳು. And about food system, they have to work hard, they have to toil the earth, they have to do farming, they have to produce. But who eats? All the three categories. They don't have any sophisticated food system. They have been considered as dog eaters. So ಅವರನ್ನು ನಾಯಿ ತಿನ್ನೋರು ಅಥವಾ ಹಂದಿ ತಿನ್ನೋರು ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. And they have no access to good food at all. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಈ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣರು ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯ ವೈಶ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಸುಗಳಿರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅದು ಸತ್ತು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ತಿನ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು ಇವ್ರನ್ನ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಟ್ಟು ಏನಾದರೂ ಅವ್ರು ರಿಚ್ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಷತ್ರಿಯ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣ ಅವ್ರ ಮನೇಲಿ ಹಸು ಸಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರು ಅವರ ಹಸು ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಹೌ ದಟ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಸ್ ಈಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲೇಟರ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಕ್ಲೋತಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಪ್ರಿವಿಯಸ್ ಎರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ತುಂಬ ಮುಂಚಿನ ಕತೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬೀನ್ ದೇರ್ ಟುಡೇ. ಸೊ ಅವರ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬಂದರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಕ್ಲೋದಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಬಂದರೆ ದೇರ್ ದಲಿತ್ಸ್ ಮೆನ್ ಆಸ್ ವೆಲ್ ಆಸ್ ವಿಮೆನ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಡಿನೇಡ್ ಟು ವೇರ್ ಕ್ಲೋತ್ಸ್ ಆನ್ ದರ್ ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕೋ ಥರ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ನೋ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಟು ವೇರ್ ಕ್ಲೋತ್ ಆನ್ ದರ್ ಅಪ್ಪರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿ. Only to protect the lower part of the body they have to wear clothes. So this is little embarrassing to even talk about, but still this was the practice in our past. And when it comes to touch, so touch kuda maro hagirilla ee three categories because they are untouchables. Our touch madidre avara madi andre avara purity hogbidutte. So these three people have been considered themselves as pure, clean and hygienic. But this one category is considered to be unhygienic, to be impure, to be dirty, to be defiled, isn't it? This was the logicality. And when it comes to touch, suppose if a Dalit touched any upper caste people by mistake, they run towards their home like anything to take a bath. This was the situation. That's why they, at any cost, they shouldn't touch them. At any cost, they shouldn't touch them. This was the practice they had to. So ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನಿಗೆ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಿದ್ರು ಅವರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ರೋಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟೀಚರ್ ಕೂಡ ಹೋಗ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಕೂಡ ಇರ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಅವರು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಓದಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ದಲಿತ ಮಕ್ಕಳು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ಸೇ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಓದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್, so they have to go to the last edge of the classroom. And when it comes to roaming in village, so ಊರ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಓಡಾಡೋ ಹಾಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ 12 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock ಅಥವಾ ಸೂರ್ಯ ಹುಟ್ಟೋಕ್ಕೂ ಮುಂಚೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದ ಶ್ಯಾಡೋ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಡರ್ಟಿ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರ ಶ್ಯಾಡೋ ಕೂಡ ಡರ್ಟಿ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವರು ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದಿತ್ತು ವಿಲೇಜ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ. So this was the criteria of Dalit and untouchability, the evil practice of untouchability. So you know all these things. If you want further information, you can search it in the internet. But still, it has been an evil practice that they shouldn't enter village. First of all, they shouldn't enter village. They shouldn't do any visible things. I mean, they should clean. ಆ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಯಾವಾಗ ಬರಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು? ಅರ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್, ಯಾವಾಗ ಅವರ ಶ್ಯಾಡೋ ಕೂಡ ಬೀಳಲ್ಲ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೊರೆವರ್, ಇಫ್ ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಎಂಟರ್ ದಿ ವಿಲೇಜ್ ಆನ್ ನಾನ್ ಎಂಟರಿಂಗ್ ಟೈಮ್, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟೈ ಅ ಬ್ರೂಮ್ ಬಿಸೈಡ್ ದೆಮ್. ಅಂದರೆ ಅವರ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ನೆಕ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಕೆನ ಕಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪರ್ಕೆ. ಸೊ ಅವರು ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದಾಗ ಫುಡ್ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬೀಳುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಫುಡ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಸ್ ಬೀಳುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ವೈಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಅಂದರೆ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಇತ್ತು ದಲಿತರಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಲಿಟ್ರಲಿ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ರೆಂಡರಿಂಗ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೆಮ್. ಸೊ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಸಫರ್ಡ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೇನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿಸ್ evil practice of casteism. So further poemನ elaborate ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ we will discussing it later. Instances ಇದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು we will be discussing it later. For time being, we will concluding our class today. And ದಲಿತರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ನ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. evil practice ಹೇಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು you have to submit it me as an assignment. Okay, thank you so much.